Let's look at how to file your individual tax returns because it's the thing that everyone in the United States must do if they made a decent amount of income. You see, the tax code and the IRS are very simple, okay? They just want to know who you are and they want to know, with integrity might I add, how much money you made and what percentage of that should be allocated towards taxes. And many people know this, but they still lack the confidence to file their tax return on their own, so they end up hiring a tax preparer to do it for them because the tax code is over 70,000 pages long, which can be confusing and overwhelming for the average person because you have to know how to accurately complete your tax forms and send them to the IRS so that you don't face any financial or legal consequences. And I'm gonna try to help you through this so that you can start having a better understanding of what the IRS expects from you. So in this video, I will walk you through a quick overview of the tax brackets, what tax forms you need to complete, and how to fill them out. And I'll go through everything step by step, so it's important that you don't skip around and you watch this video until the very end. Stay tuned. Hey there, I'm Sean with Life Accounting, the accounting company that helps you save on taxes and build more wealth. And I just want to thank everybody who has been liking videos and subscribing to show their support for our channel. It really gives us the positive momentum to keep making YouTube videos. All right, let's go ahead and dive in with step number 1. Understand your tax bracket. Now, the United States has what is called a progressive tax system, which means simply people with higher taxable incomes are subject to higher tax rates, and people with lower taxable incomes are subject to lower federal income tax rates. This is what helps make the tax system fair. So I'll go ahead and put up on the screen right now the 2021 tax brackets. Now, these tax brackets often confuse many people because some people just think that they should take their total income and then multiply it by the tax rate. For example, if a household made $100,000 in income, then many people would think they need to multiply that by 24% and thus think their tax liability is $24,000. But that is wrong. Okay, instead, the IRS divides your income into chunks and taxes each chunk at the corresponding tax rate. For example, if your household made $100,000 of taxable income, then only about $13,624 would be taxed at the 24% tax rate. So instead, you'd be looking at something like a 15.1% effective tax rate. Okay, now that you understand that, let's move into step number 2. What tax return do you need to file? Now, most people know about the primary tax form you need to complete, which is Form 1040, the U.S. Individual Tax Return, which is the standard federal form people use to report their income, claim tax deductions, claim their tax credits, and calculate their tax refund or their tax liability. And this is the one that I'm going to walk you through how to fill out in the next step. But there are 3 other 1040 forms you could consider using as well. Let's go ahead and quickly look at all 3. So first you have number 1, the 1040-NR. Okay, this form is usually for non-resident aliens who are engaged in businesses or trades within the United States. Next you have number 2, the 1040-SR. So this is a new version of the 1040, which is for people age 65 and older. Okay, the main difference between Form 1040 and the Form 1040-SR are the appearance, because this Form SR has larger fonts and different colors, which may be beneficial for older people. Okay, next you have number 3, 1040-X. Okay, this is for anyone who needs to amend a tax return. So if you made a mistake, like you forgot to include a portion of your income, then you want to complete Form 1040-X. Now, as a side note, you may have heard about Form 1040-EZ, but that is no longer used for tax years beyond 2017. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to step number 3, how to fill out the individual US 1040 form. Okay, to get started, you have 2 options. Option number 1 is to use a tax software, either one that you download or you find online. Now, most software today will progressively walk you through the steps I'm about to show you in just a second. Option number 2 is to download Form 1040 from the IRS website, fill it in manually, and then mail it to the IRS, which millions of people still decide to do. Once you decide which route you want to take, the first step in filling out the form is to give them information about yourself. So you're going to need to answer questions like, okay, what's your full name? When were you born? What's your social security number? Where do you currently live? Are you married? So what is your filing status? Like, are you married, single, etc.? Do you have any children or other dependents, and so on? This helps the IRS determine, okay, who you are. And once they know who you are, then the next step for you is to tell them about your income. So you need to report any of your W-2 wages, any of their capital gains on investments like stocks or crypto, your rental property income, your self-employment income, or your business income, and so on. So if you're using a tax software, then usually their system is pretty good at determining what your total income is for you. Then the third step is to input your tax deductions or your tax credits that you are entitled to. Now, by default, each individual gets what is called a standard deduction. So in general, you only want to itemize your deductions using Schedule A if your itemized deductions exceed the standard deduction amount. For the 2022 tax year, the standard deduction is $12,950 for single filers and $25,900 for married filing jointly filers. Now, after inputting your deductions, then you will arrive at your taxable income, and this is the amount you pay taxes on. Now, you or your software will be able to calculate your effective tax rate and then determine your overall tax bill. Now, most employees have taxes taken out of their check when they get paid, so by the time you finish completing Form 1040, you may find that you have a tax refund, meaning that you overpaid on taxes throughout the tax year. On the other hand, if you didn't pay enough, then you will receive a tax bill. Now, since you made it this far, I have some bonus tips in the form of mistakes that you want to avoid. Starting with number 4, avoid clean figures. So using clean figures means you're deducting exactly $300 or exactly $700 or exactly $500. Okay, do you see the trend here? All these deductions end in zeros. And although that's possible, it is extremely unlikely. So when the IRS processes a return, it runs it through technology that could pick up on things like that, which could raise a red flag with the IRS and result in an audit. Of course, that is something that we don't want. Okay, moving along to number 5, avoid filing late. So if you know you have a tax bill coming up, then it's never fun, it's never convenient, and it's never the right time to file. But of course you need to. Usually the deadline is April 15th to file, but for 2022, it is April 18th. But look, you want to file your taxes on time so that you avoid interest and penalties from the IRS. And if you don't file your taxes for multiple years, well, then you could be investigated for tax fraud, which is criminal. Now, if you happen to need more time to file, you can always file what is called an extension, which gives you an additional 6 months to file after the original due date, which in this case will be October 15th or 18th. Okay, now mistake number 6 is errors in your return. So if you have an error in your tax return, such as a misspelling with your last name or a social security number being slightly off, then your tax return can fail to process most of the time immediately. Now, if you have numerical errors, then the IRS could make their own adjustments to your return as well. And in the worst cases, if you leave off something like a tax credit or a tax deductions or a taxable income, then you may need to file an amended return.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Okay, now let's move along to mistake number 7, wrong bank account information. If you have decided to get your tax refund directly deposited, which many people do, then please make sure you have the correct account information on your tax return. If you happen to use a tax preparer to do your taxes for you, then before you sign off, make sure you triple check your account numbers, because if it's off by a single digit, then your tax refund could be sent to the wrong account or bounce back to the IRS and take months to reprocess. Okay, so I hope all of that was helpful. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section below. Now, we have 2 more videos coming up next. One video giving you tax write-offs for individuals. And if you're a business, then I have another video on how to file your taxes as an LLC owner. So make sure you check those out if you haven't already, and I'll see you over there.